Welcome to We Are the Remedy, where each week we highlight a person from the community who embodies the idea of people helping people.
Hi everybody, my name is Mark Machado. I'm a realtor with Corcoran Global Living, and I'm a proud sponsor of Donuts for Breakfast and We Are the Remedy. I believe that Desire to Inspire Studios is a great and safe place for kids to learn. The opportunity to be able to come out and experience what it's like to be on a set, experience what it's like to work with other people, experience what it's like to have to create and build relationships with people that you're going to work with is so important. We need to respect our youth and we need to teach them, we need to help them grow. And I think this is a great opportunity for us and myself as a sponsor to help those kids grow. If you like this programming and like helping our youth, please consider sponsoring the show. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to We Are the Remedy, Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation. My name is Trevor Henley, and I'm the inspirational activist and executive director and founder of Desire to Inspire Studios Foundation. We have with us the Honorable, the Dr. Michael Pritchard.
It is my pleasure to be here on We Are the Remedy with my good colleague and good friend and a guy that I used to teach when he was young, but now I learn from all the time. He knows more about technology in his tiny little finger than I do in the whole world. And my very good friend, Father Harry Schlitt from God Squad fame, traveled with this guy many places all over the world and had a lot of fun with them. And he is the pastor of St. Vincent's Orphanage and Children's Center now, right here by us here in San Rafael. Used to be called an orphanage, but now it's just Boys Center. But Father Harry's our chaplain there, and he says Mass for us every Sunday. And I've had a relationship with this guy for a long time. He married my wife and I and baptized all the kids. Just an amazing character. We spent a lot of time with the Holy Father. He's getting bored now. He's getting bored.
I tried to marry him. He didn't show up.
That's true. I'll tell you that. Well, I'll let him tell that story. But Monsignor Harry Schlitt. Harry?
Good to be with you, and this is certainly an honor for me being between such two figures like that. But Trevor, I lie.
Got a lot to look to now.
I lie a lot. No, I met Pritchard Michael on he beat out Robin Williams in the comedy competition one year, and I went to see him at some little club in the city.
Right.
And we kind of hit it off because we both have roots in Missouri.
Yeah.
And he was in the same seminary I was in, except they threw him out.
And for a good reason. Oh, did I say that?
It was the separation of the weeds and the weeds. Anyway, I was doing a radio show at KYUU, which was an NBC affiliate in San Francisco. Right. And Michael came on the show there, and that's when we really got to know each other. So he said, I'm getting married. And I said, oh, good. He said, well, would you do it? So we arranged a date and a time. I think it was 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It was at Sacred Heart Church at Fillmore and Fell. I turned the lights on. I knew it was going to be a small wedding because he doesn't have that many friends. Right. And people are afraid he was going to talk at the wedding. So
or charge admission, probably.
Yeah. So his brother and a few comedians were there, and I think your mother was there.
Mom was there, yeah.
And I don't know. She lasted through the whole thing. Anyway, I get all the lights on. I light the candles. I'm all set. Nobody. 1:15. Nobody. 1:30. Nobody.
Crickets.
I'll give him to 1:35. And we didn't have cell phones then, so he couldn't alert me. I blew out the candles, turned the lights off, went upstairs and watched the ball game or something. I don't know what I did.
Watch the Giants game.
So he gives me a call later today, apologizes. But tell him what you were doing.
Well, the irony was inescapable. I am on stage at the Greek Theater introducing Joan Baez and the guy from Simon and Garfunkel, Paul Simon, and they're riding out on my back as a joke, and it hit me. I go, wait, is today October 2nd? It can't be. Is it October 2nd? And I walked up to Mary Jo, and I said, honey, is today October 2nd? She goes, yeah. And I said, we were supposed to get married today. And so we did get married 1 week later to the day, October 9th. It's our anniversary. And Monsignor performed the...
well, the concert was Bread and Roses.
Yes, Bread and Roses.
You told me that you filled in for somebody, the guy from WKRP.
Oh, Howard Hessman was there.
And he wasn't in good shape.
Yeah.
So you kind of took his place.
Howard Hessman, Father Guido Sarducci was there. He was one of the MC, and Robin Williams. Yeah. And there's a big 1982 poster of that the whole thing that they have down in the. They would never let me have it because I would not take care of it well, or it'd be in the garage waiting for my wife to go. Why is this gathering dusty?
Anyway, a week later they did show up.
Right.
Nice. On time?
Yeah, but I didn't light the candles till they got there. I didn't want to waste the wax.
So you guys have just a little bit of history together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Truly. We did. We traveled to both Denver and Toronto to be with the Holy Father for World Youth Day, and there was some pretty amazing stuff that happened for us there. And it was what was great for me to watch. Harry ascended and became the Vicar General of the Archdiocese. And
is that an ascension?
That's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
A guy
After
like
being
me.
with you.
Exactly.
But we had a connection with Mother from New York who runs the home.
Rose McGrady. Yeah.
McGrady, yeah. But what was the name of the program?
Covenant House.
Covenant House.
Yes.
Places all over the country, in other countries too.
Homeless shelters for children.
Yeah. So we did I produced it, and he was the talent. He was the talent, but basically we had good kids on the show who had great success, and then we had the other kids come in, and Mike would interview them, and some of them came from abuse, poverty, no home, living in cars, garages, and these other kids who came to see the Pope, they traveled long distances with a lot of money.
Beautiful homes.
The connection between those two different kids was amazing.
Yeah,
like bridging the gap between
the gap, and they,
helping them understand.
And they would, they were in tears and really, really appreciated meeting. I mean, you get a kid on drugs who's 15 or 16, and been on drugs since they're 12.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And some kid has never seen a drug.
Right.
Never smoked a joint, never,
When we had kids from Nicaragua with their social workers and stuff.
Yeah, from other countries.
Yeah.
And then the highlight of that one show we did in Denver, besides you, Mike.
That's a given.
That's a given, yeah. If not, he would have told me. No, what was the young man who played? He played Jose.
Oh yes,
played the guitar with his feet. Have you ever seen that guy?
Oh, that
amazing entertainer.
Holy Father gave him a beautiful medal. That was
He played when the Pope was in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, beautiful.
But he played for us and the kids. Have a guy sing and play the guitar with his feet.
A beautiful voice too.
Yeah, he was terrific.
Very charismatic, very Holy Spirit oriented kid. Yeah. And what the best thing I think when I think back about our travels, we had to go in 7 miles. We walked 7 with all the kids. But as we're going in, you're seeing and you realize that how sometimes, and this is no intention to malign the media at all, but sometimes they miss the story. Am I not right? We had about 1.5 million people there.
Yeah.
1.5 million people getting ready to pray.
Young people.
Yes, young people. And the Holy Father John Paul II, flew in, helicopter landed, and 1.5 million people praying in the field, right? And then as
Sleeping bags. And
yeah,
mine was
yeah.
next to his.
Hey, no objections at all. But but what was amazing was the kids really were feeling spiritual, I think, because we're praying together. But the thing that got me is as we're coming back out, there's a guy who looked like a member of, you'll remember this.
Yeah.
He looked like a member of ZZ Top with the beard out there. He was from Troy, Montana, holding a sign that said, "The Pope is the Antichrist." And there's 3 cameras around him, but they're missing the shot of 1.5 million people praying together, bigger than Woodstock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, 3 times the size of Woodstock. Nobody's paying attention to the focus of what kind of prayer is going on there. But when we got back to the Regis, to the hotel, there it was
On the
in
TV.
the TV.
ZZ Top. What? Pope was an Antichrist.
What was the energy like having 1.5
Oh,
million?
That's a great question.
Yeah, the
We got no sleep.
no. In fact, we're in the dirt. We're on the dirt field.
Yeah,
Was it a racetrack?
it was a racetrack. Yeah.
Outside
Cherry
of
Creek
Denver.
State Park. Yeah.
How do you remember that?
Yeah.
So anyway, the Pope is talking, quack, 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 and the kids are cheering. Well, they were a mile away from us,
Right. Yeah.
and we're in our sleeping bags,
Yeah,
right? Go to bed. You know?
You're yelling at 1.5 million kids,
Go to
teenagers, and they're moving, but they're from different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're pulling together and they're singing songs,
yeah.
praising the Blessed Virgin Mary and Jesus and stuff. Well, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so then the Pope finally gets off the stage, and we go, "Thanks be to God, he's leaving." He goes. He must have told the pilot of the helicopter. He said, I want to see the millions. I want to see all these kids. So the chopper goes, and the dust goes, woo!
Oh, I'm cheering you. Thank you, Holy Father. Woo! Great job.
We could all use a shower. We need Moses to touch the rock. So the water came forth.
Well, do you remember people were laying, it's because it was 7 miles out.
Mm-hmm.
And they were laying their hoses out over the back because it was a hot day.
No,
it was
I don't
in the
remember
90s.
that.
Yeah. But they laid their hoses out so the kids could get drinks of water and stuff. But it was, what I think was astounding was the energy, like you said. The energy was filled with hope. And I believe that was, what year was that? 88, 89, something like that. And, the Holy Father, he knew.
He was good with the media. He understood.
And the kids.
And he loved the audience because
kids.
Living in the Vatican with that kind of. I lived in Rome for 4 years, so I got a backstage view of how political things can be because they have to be. We're people. Right. Wherever there are people, there's going to be politics. Right. Yeah. And in the church, it's double when somebody is living in a box like this. Yeah. So when Pope John Paul got out, he just let it all.
Oh,
he expressed his love for young people. He started that whole thing.
Yeah. World Youth Day. Yeah.
World Youth Day.
Yeah.
Is it still happening?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Every 4 years.
Every 4 years.
Yeah. You can feel the energy of it. We went to the one in Toronto, and I think that what you're trying to tell people is that poverty is the biggest poverty is poverty of the spirit.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And when you're not connected to something greater, and what World Youth Day does, and it connects you to something bigger than yourself. Right. We're praying together, we're singing together, we're laughing together, we're sharing together, and you learn so much. And then when we did the shows, the kids were magnificent. They said astounding, brilliant things, heartfelt, emotional stuff. Like when you were on the show, when you were on our show here, and it had been after Columbine, Padre, and everybody was wondering. The folks at Seas Candy, Chuck Huggins and Buffett and all they were like, what is causing two young men to go to a school and murder their classmates? and they wanted to know. And so when we listened to you guys, we started to learn. And here, ironically, Father, we were just doing a show in for cancer folks for Reiki with Trevor and I back there. And the day that we were filming, they had 10 more people killed there in an incident at a supermarket.
Wow.
Right afterwards. And I keep saying, violence doesn't have a zip code, folks. And that's why hope is important. Prayer is important. Laughter, sharing, forgiveness, compassion, inner forgiveness, not overstanding.
I got to write all this. I'm the one that preaches on Sunday. Yeah. So what was that last one? One at a time.
But where Harry and I went to college at Cape Girardeau, where Harry grew up. In Cape Girardeau, Missouri, it's right past resume speed.
Yeah.
Very
big town when I grew up.
Yeah.
There are two famous people from there, Trevor, in radio. I was number one, and number two was
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh was from Cape Girardeau.
Yeah.
His grandfather was an attorney who helped my father. Anyway, Rush and I are both speaking. I'm speaking the graduation of the Catholic high school, and he's at the public school. Wow. Same night graduation. Wow. So we both get interviewed in the paper the first day, had our pictures and a little bio kind of thing, said these guys are in town. The next day, it had 3 sentences that I said something about God, and then it had about 4 columns. And multiple pictures. Well, because he was making millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And when he first started with ABC, I was with ABC Rock Radio Network out of New York. And they had a communications meeting in San Francisco. And I remember seeing Rush Limbaugh they had a cake with all the radio personalities. I said, who is this guy? And then I find out he's from Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Wow.
And so right-wing and clever. He was bright.
He was very brilliant.
Two of my nephews went to school with him, and they said he went out for football, and they used him as the dummy. And I said, yeah, he's a dummy now. He can buy and
sell everybody, yeah. Well,
he did really well in radio. Yeah. He had his own shtick, and whether or not he believed all of the things that he talked about, I thought he was, my personal opinion, after a while, he was causing harm. He was doing damage to, he was building up, let's take sides and dislike one another because we don't agree on everything.
Not helpful.
Yeah, and let's agree to disagree. That old saying. Right. But he always took it a step further. Like, you can't love your brother if he doesn't believe, or your sister if they don't believe the same thing.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
So
And why isn't that healthy?
Why isn't that healthy? Well, I don't know, but nobody agrees with me. I still like him.
All I can tell you is, when I was a kid, he had his own radio show there, and his name was Rusty Sharp, KGMO Radio. And we joke, and he was the place kicker on a football team. But I actually, in Sacramento, I talked to him one day, and I was telling him I was from Cape Girardeau, and, and had gone to college there. And, I always feel bad. I truly do. I think people, not just him, but many people get trapped into a situation that they can't escape. And you have to become the guy they want you to. Now, if you remember this movie, you're too young to remember it. But folks, if you want to see a movie, A Face in the Crowd with a guy by the name of Andy Griffith, and it's about a young guy in a small town who becomes a demigod on radio and singing. And then Andy Griffith was brilliant in it. And then he becomes a narcissistic sociopath that gets exposed for being a cold, ruthless, cruel sociopath. Right on. And Patricia Neal's in the movie. She's brilliant as well. But I think that if you see this, I think that's what happens sometimes in media. Not to a wonderful priest like you, kind and thoughtful, compassionate.
Keep going.
But I think sometimes you do get into the power trip of having that.
So Cecil B. DeMille. I'll do one little movie scene here. Cecil B. DeMille was the great producer. Trevor, or is that too far?
Probably too far.
He did Ben-Hur. You remember that movie?
No.
Ben-Hur would have been with...
He's not even 40, this guy.
No, I just turned 40.
Charlton Heston.
Yes.
Yeah, Charlton Heston. And Ben-Hur was about this slave who learned to drive chariots with four big horses and like a little bitty telephone booth that you stand on. So Charlton Heston trained for months so he could drive one of these chariots. And finally he goes into the executive producer, Cecil B. DeMille, who did all these extravagant film, and he said, Cecil, I finally learned how to drive the horses. He said, and I feel good about it. I think we should put it on film. Let's go. So he said, okay. He said, but I have one worry. He said, what's that? He said, I don't know whether I can win the race. Some of these other guys are. DeMille said, Mr. Heston, this is film. I'm the executive producer. I'll make sure you win the race. I can cut these other guys out. So I always, I don't know.
If you ain't cheating, it ain't Hollywood. Go ahead.
I think the executive producer up there or wherever, up there, over there, or with you two guys, wherever God is like, I'll make sure you win.
Yeah.
So you make a lot of mistakes. You learn how to do difficult things in life, and you still doubt whether or not you can do it right, or whether you'll do the right thing the right way. And who knows? It doesn't always turn out the way you planned it. So
I don't think it ever really turns out the way you planned it.
Yeah.
That's part of what I think the mission is. It's all about the journey, right?
Mensch tragt und Gott lacht, which means man thinks and God laughs. And it's,
This guy is something.
If you ever needed someone to step in,
Yeah. He could do Donald Duck, too.
Anyway, today is anything can happen day. Anyway, there is something to be said in these moments when that's so profound what you just said. And I think it's true because both he and I, and we've had journeys, and we've had to become not survivors, but prevailers and overcomers of sometimes the self-destructiveness in ourselves. And when you do that, when you realize that, you do thank God for the executive producer title that the boss upstairs carries, right?
This television thing just enlarges, even if you have a little ego and you see yourself, or somebody I was showing these men around the church yesterday who were doing some prep work for a famous person. And another lady and her husband walked in the church, and I said, well, come on in. We're just looking around. She said, I haven't been in a church for a year and a half, but I've been watching you on TV every week.
Oh, yeah.
I said, I look a lot better in person. These guys from the police department, man, this guy is something.
Yeah, but you're having fun, man, which is the most.
Well, anyway, I've been doing television for a long time, so it's very easy. You go into a restaurant, and this guy knows it because he embarrasses you. You go into a restaurant or on an airplane with him, and he goes around doing these little voices. All of a sudden, he's got a little audience. And sit down, Mike.
Yeah.
But He's looking for a chair big enough for him to sit.
Well, you know what's behind every big man? There's a big behind.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, write that down.
All right.
Yeah. So, but I think what you're saying is, and I think that's true. But I think when you helped me out the most was, you don't even remember this. When I tell you this, you had done a television show called Boys of Company C.
Yeah.
And the Children of Company C.
Children of Company C.
And you were, Harry was on Armed Forces Radio and TV for all the troops all over the world. And he was a chaplain for them and for armed forces. And what was amazing was one of the shows he had filmed was about children with cancer. And I had a friend from Southeast Missouri who was a linebacker, Doug Mackey, worked for Anheuser-Busch, he and his wife, and their baby daughter, Julie, who subsequently, rest in peace, passed away. She was 16 months old, and she had neuroblastoma at Children's Hospital. And Harry was really great with the family. And I brought them in, and they weren't Catholic, but he went and he talked and he blessed her and everything. And I think that when you realize that the journey is that television can help heal people, and they watched the show together, and it helped them immensely. And I got Pat Foley, her brother was the chief of police back in Missouri in Cool Valley, and they came out. And then I got her mom to come out and be with them and help them get her out. But you learn, I think, from that.
You know, I did that show 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And a brilliant oncologist named Jordan, I can't remember his first name, Dr. Jordan, was at Stanford, and then he was at Pacific Medical Center in the city there. He called me and said, would you like to do a television show on the kids that we had on that day, because he saved the video, who didn't die. And I said, oh, that would be great. And I got Jim Swanson, and he had already he was executive producer at KRON, and they had already he'd retired, so he couldn't get anybody there that was interested. But it would have been a wonderful show to see. You know, these kids would be 35 to 40 years old now, and they lived because we saw so many of them pass away.
Well, after that, I got into helping Randy Cross build, with the help of Ronald McDonald House. We built the Ronald McDonald House at Stanford, and there's I think there's like 160 rooms now, and a big golf tournament. We had the Randy Cross golf tournament. So I met Tiger Woods one time, and they were Stanford.
Hey, wait. My uncle once saw Richard Nixon in a parade.
Yeah. You see the sarcasm as you're in the seminary in College of North America, the priests around, and they have nobody to abuse but each other.
Oh, man. So you have traveled the world, you've touched, that's not going to sound right, that you've enlightened millions of people all throughout the world.
Right.
Why?
I've had a chance to do that because at one time for Armed Forces Radio, they told me that I had a bigger audience than the Pope. You know, so they told me with the military, because I had 250 ships at sea, they all played the program through satellite later on. But before that, they made these LPs. And I went to every country where we had military men and women. And I would ask them, now what should I be talking about? So you said, why are you doing it? They said, many of the people in the service don't understand that lying is wrong. Tell them about lying, stealing, and cheating. You don't have to say God or Jesus or Mary or the church or I believe. Just tell them that it's not right to break into somebody else's footlocker and take their things. Or it's not right when somebody asks you whether you did this to make up a story and lie. It's just not right. So lying, cheating, and stealing were the three main values. And of course, if you're on the radio for an hour every week, you can do little things that are subtle that will help those. And my show was way above any of the others. I came on right after American Bandstand
Right.
for years, and that was a great lead-in because what was that guy's name?
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark.
Right. Worked for him.
He had a brilliant way of using music.
Happy guy.
And
He's a nice guy.
and the guy after him, what was his name? He was a Armenian. Well, he was about as tall as this table.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
He did the
Yeah.
Hot 100 for years. He had a beautiful family too. Anyway, working on armed forces, I still get emails once in a while from guys that know that I still am alive. Saying thank you, helped me overseas, and it's a thrill for your ego to walk down the streets of Tokyo and have a car go by and hear your voice on the radio, where they speak Japanese.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
and they used to take my radio show and translate it. So on one side of the page would be the Japanese, the other side would be me talking, and then of course the big thing for the Japanese was to know the lyrics of the music that I played.
In those days.
I played lots of music, so
yeah.
And popular music, not religious kind of music.
What did it do for you helping all of those troops?
It made my life worthwhile to go out and work harder. Just to know that I had an opportunity that very few people would have.
Yeah.
That here's a chance for you from wherever. I'm in Switzerland one time in a shop with my sister, and she says, we ought to buy some of these little wooden things here. And I said, no, we don't need any of that stuff. I don't need any of that stuff. And a lady comes over and she said, are you Father Harry?
Wow.
I said, I recognize your voice. I listen to Armed Forces Radio every week.
Yeah.
My head gets big. And then my sister goes, you know him?
Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Folks, I'm gonna tell you something about Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's not real big, and but if you're from there, it's just so great. It's so great to be from Cape Girardeau, and to be able to go see the whole world, and that's what happened for this feller. And now every Sunday I go up and I sit and I take his blessing, and I'm feeling pretty good about it because it's. Think about it, folks. How do you get out of Cape Girardeau with really, truly loving, good people, But, if you want to do something big in the world,
well, I used to get my saying from Rudell Roark.
Rudell Roark.
Rudell was right across the border in Arkansas, which is hardly the United States.
Sure.
You're from Arkansas, Trevor. Oh, thank God.
I mean, yes. Now what?
No, go.
Rudell used to say, well, Father Harry, I know you're moving out there to California and all. And he said, we're sitting on the fence watching his hogs grow. He said, yeah, I'm going to miss you, son. He said, but you got to remember this. No matter where you go, there you are. And if you don't know where you're going, you probably end up somewhere else. Well, that was my advice from Rudell Roark.
Rudell Roark
Well,
has
it goes
some
back to your idea of that plan.
wisdom.
You write a plan, you never really know, how it's going to go and how it's going to play out.
There was a professor from Missouri, James Lee Teetmoot, who wrote Blue Highways. One of my favorite stories, because he was a professor at Missouri U, and this book was about taking just the Blue Highways, just to drift along and be places. And he says, I was walking out to my car And the guy goes, well, where are you going next? This is a guy in Missouri. And he goes, I don't know. And he goes, good. That way you won't have a problem knowing whether you get there on time. There, in a nutshell, folks, is Missouri.
Yeah.
You know, there you go, right there.
That's why you said it's good that we had a chance to leave.
Yeah. Well, my favorite line from Cape Girardeau was from Mary T. Marshall from Marshall, Missouri. She used to go, if I don't see you here, I'll see you here. But you know, I think about the journey that you and I have been on from that time, and the things we got to do, and the places we got to go, the people we got to meet, and the Holy Father included. And you think about the journey of our lives, and this is, I always felt, I don't know about you, but I always felt blessed that we got to do this. Right?
Yeah.
Huh?
I felt blessed because I was around you, and you always sweat more than I do.
I'm always thinking there's going to be a moment of seriousness, and then it's like, nope. What am I thinking? So we are going to wrap up the show here in the next couple of minutes. But one of the things that you kind of spoke about when you were speaking to the military is, you know, the instruction was, you know, don't speak about God, or you don't have to, or you don't have to believe, or anything like that. But and one of the things that Michael told me about you is, you know, obviously you're very high up in the Catholic Church, but you're also very spiritual in the sense. And so
Anchored.
People that aren't necessarily Catholic or Christian or have religion still can follow your words.
Right.
Why is that?
Well, I think it's a gift of the Holy Spirit, which I don't take credit for it at all. I call it a gift. I didn't do anything to earn that. There's a woman who comes to Mass where we are on Sunday, and she's not a Catholic. She crosses her arms when she comes up to communion. She looks right into my eyes, and she says to me one Sunday after, she said, there's something in you that comes to me where I feel comfortable and strengthened every week.
Wow.
She said, I don't take communion. I'm not a Catholic. I come here, and she's got the most beautiful face. And she probably, I don't know, 65, maybe 70, I don't know. But it's just something like that. And when I bless her, occasionally looking into her eyes, I get chills. I get chills because I'm allowed to be there to do this. And I didn't go to school to get the gift of the Holy Spirit. Or I would have failed.
Well, hanging out with that guy.
Yeah,
you know,
really.
Not, right?
But there's a holiness in that power of sometimes, and you know this, and you know this as well. Sometimes you'll be right in the middle of something, and the thought will come to you. And you know that's not your thought. It's given to you to say to someone, about someone, or for someone. And that is the shift. And you channel the light and become that light for others. And that it helps you. And that's what it has to be all about.
Well, in the scripture, it always says Joseph had a dream to take the child and go this direction rather than go that direction. Or, one of the apostles had a dream, or an angel spoke to them. And I'm not leveling myself, but if I'm going to give an important homily at a funeral or something, some nights I can't sleep, it's all there. And then I get up and I write little notes, and then the next day I write it down. But that's the same thing that I read from the scriptures when I don't see angels coming down and like this, and say Paul gets knocked off his horse, and he said, "Quid vis me fa? What do you want me to do?" So as he'd been doing all these terrible things in his life to Christian people, and now he has an opportunity to be known as defender of the faith, St. Paul. anyway, Trevor, thank you for having me here.
Right.
It's been a gift, even though he's not perspiring.
We can make him so Michael.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate having you on.
Yeah.
It's been a very fun joy to have you both together, hanging out and sharing your messages. And thank you for all the help that you've given this world, and hope and enlightenment that you've given this world. It's truly an honor to sit in your presence and laugh along with you.
Thank you.
You know, and Michael, any last thoughts that are short-ish?
Yeah. If you're wise, you realize that many priests, many priests, are guilty of nothing other than loving people and their communities. And so much blame has come, and so much maligning and stigmatism has come their way. Take a moment, look inside, all of us, myself included. And before we judge, really meet that holy priest that you meet. You know, I'm not saying him.
No, please.
But they're out there, and they are good, wonderful men who live the heart of Christ and live that in our lives, around us, in our community. That said, can you buy lunch?
No, you just burped me for breakfast. He has a habit, you know.
Yeah. All right, to try and end it on one more note, anything that you can want to say to anyone that's watching?
This is the first time I've had this experience with Trevor and Mike, so I hope there's an opportunity for it to grow and get bigger. And Mike and I have talked about having something a little more where we'd spend time maybe with a little scripture and having fun with it, not to cram them. When you grow up in Springfield, Missouri as a priest, there are 6 Bible colleges there. And I used to say that the evangelists are the ones who really can kill Christ, you know, where they pound this message. And it was very, there's a whole different thing now, but at that time, it wasn't the spirit that I think I would like to follow. So I hope this program grows and continues to influence people, and I hope you have many more guests who will say the same thing.
Amen, Padre.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks, folks. We are the remedy. Be the medicine out there. Take care of each other. Love each other.
Yeah. Remember to smile, share a compliment, share your story, and connect. And I like what you said earlier, Michael, don't judge. And, you know, it is really all about creating common bonds and creating stories.
Judge and you will be judged.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you for joining, and have a wonderful day. Go out there.
Thank you, Cesar.
Be the
good man.
We are all the remedy. Thank you, Cesar.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Machado. I'm a realtor with Corcoran Global Living, and I'm a proud sponsor of Donuts for Breakfast, and we are the remedy. I believe that Desire to Inspire Studios is a great and safe place for kids to learn. The opportunity to be able to come out and experience what it's like to be on a set, experience what it's like to work with other people, experience what it's like to have to create and build relationships with people that you're going to work with is so important. We need to respect our youth, and we need to teach them, we need to help them grow. And I think this is a great opportunity for us and myself as a sponsor to help those kids grow. If you like this programming and like helping our youth, please consider sponsoring the show. Thank you.